Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Welcome to Facebook Live. This is the 30th of July, year 2025. We are in the peak of summer here in Texas, and I'm hoping everybody's staying cool and in good conditions. Stay hydrated, stay cool. And we have on our panel, we have Lakshmi today, who is part of our core group of meditators, as well as she leads workshops with us. She leads workshops on mantra chanting. She actually has a meditation group that does mantra chanting every Tuesday. So if anybody's interested in the mantra chanting, please contact Lakshmi about it. I think Josie recently started, and she always I ask her on Tuesdays, and she's always like, I'm in Lakshmi's meditation.
Yeah.
So it's God's work, Lakshmi. Thank you. So
Thank you.
infinite gratitude that you offer that on Tuesdays.
Yes, and once in a month I give some talks if anybody has any questions, and that
Okay.
happens on a Sunday at 5 o'clock. So if
Okay.
anyone has any questions, so they're more than welcome.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Yeah.
So I did not have a topic. Actually, let me look at my questions. I randomly put questions in my notes on my phone, my scratch pad. So somebody was asking Eckhart this question, Lakshmi. You know how Eckhart always says, die before you die, kind of thing. And
Yes.
he says, Eckhart, you say die first before you reach enlightenment. Then he's asking Eckhart, for all of us that want enlightenment, kill us now. He's telling Eckhart to kill us now, which was really funny way of putting this die before you die. So do you want to talk about what is this die before you die that Eckhart talks about? And this person wanting enlightenment, like they were probably they were at a Eckhart retreat, right? And the question came during the retreat, so they must have been in the protected environment of a retreat setting. So
Yeah. 15 years back, when I actually first started reading Eckhart, and I came across this particular quote of die before you die, I too actually didn't understand at a deeper level. But now, after, all the inner search and, listening to Eckhart multiple times, die before you die, because Eckhart tells that there is a surface I and a deeper I. When I refer to myself as I, Lakshmi, there are two aspects, the surface aspect and the deeper aspect. So it's the surface aspect which is concerned with all the unnecessary things and what happened to me in the past, or oh my God, what is going to happen to me in the future, or all of this, everything that comes with the mind and body is the surface I related. And the deeper I is always at peace. Deeper I is a witness or a sakshi, which is witnessing all the time, never getting attached to any of the trauma that is happening to you. So, die before you die is to die to your old self, where there is no thought created suffering anymore. So, you are not continuously going into the past and becoming a victim or feeling guilty of what happened, or something that you were helpless and you were abandoned, and all of these things that keep coming up, you embrace them all. Or the anger comes up, fear comes up, all of these negative emotions are also seeking release through you. So you cannot just put them under a rug and say that I'll deal with this later. So um, it's not that simple. So you need to feel everything, feel every emotion that you are feeling, and accept it, and only then all of these negative emotions will go away. And like I said, they're all seeking release through you because we have inherited this through, great, 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 God knows how many generations. So we have, it's just passing on and on and on. So we are the ones who have to break the cycle so that we don't pass on this trauma to our children and grandchildren. So die before you die is to die to that surface I where there is no more thought created suffering. So when you sit in that stillness, stillness is the language of God. Everything else is bad translation. So that's when you actually feel that enlightenment that he talks about, that there is no surface I, there is no one to even claim the enlightenment at that time. So there is no you to even claim the enlightenment. So that precisely is what die before you die, as I understand it, Poonam. Thank you.
Beautiful. Eternally grateful. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
So sweet and precious. So die before you die is ego death. Die,
Yes.
allow the ego to die.
Allow the ego to die. Yes.
And the ego, one of the things that Eckhart really says is there's always this form identity and essence identity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ego does not mean, a lot of people kind of may mistake that ego implies any thought that arises, right? Is the
Mm-hmm.
ego,
Mm-hmm.
which is actually not the case. When we are identified with that thought,
Yeah.
is when ego arises,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the job of the ego, is to keep that thought alive.
Yeah.
It constantly regurgitates the thought, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what he's saying is always have that, like you said, the deep I and the surface I, always have that separation, that
Mm-hmm.
there's a deeper I, and then there's this I that could, if they merge and become one, then
One.
that becomes the ego,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And always have that separation between the two,
Mm-hmm.
so that your presence or your awareness is actually watching this, whatever. Another thing I love, what the way Eckhart phrases in A New Earth, that it is the content of your awareness,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So always be watching what is arising in your awareness, whether it is a thought, whether it is an emotion, what is arising,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And what is that content actually telling me? What is the meaning of that content? Like, use your awareness to examine the content, because a lot of times what that content is actually not the truth. It may be an interpretation of what reality is. That
Yeah.
is another aspect of the ego, right? We are
Yeah.
misinterpreting what reality is. So, good evening, Patricia. Thank you so much for joining.
So sorry I'm late. I just walked in from work.
No worries. No worries. We're glad that you joined. So what Eckhart said is, to his question, and this is what the panel is doing every time that we meet. This is what we are also trying to do through having these discussions. What Eckhart said during the Q&A, he said that he has been working on killing them, or actually allowing them to see that gap, right? During the retreat, allowing them to see the gap between their thinking mind and the actual deeper self. That's what he's been doing all throughout the retreat, right? The other thing he did say is he forewarned this person into. And I found this tip really, really incredibly amazing from Eckhart Tolle, that he has so much, like he understands every facet of the ego, Lakshmi. He
Yes,
said,
yes,
he said, you know, when you say you want enlightenment, even that could become the ego,
yes, yes, yes.
right? And
Yeah,
I was like blown away by that response, that even thinking that I want enlightenment.
yeah. Because there is no you when actually in that enlightenment. So who is the you which wants enlightenment? That's the egoic you. So
Right?
yeah, yeah,
So everybody needs to watch out for that as well, that
yeah.
you don't get into the seeking mode
Correct,
of I want enlightenment, I want
correct.
enlightenment. So let me ask Patricia. Patricia, the question, let me look at my notes on my phone. Somebody asked Eckhart that he says, die before you die, right? And then they say, uh, that you say die first before you reach enlightenment. So for all of us, and they're at a retreat, so for all of us, he's saying, the questioner is asking, for all of us that want it so badly, is there a way to kill us now? Right? He's asking Eckhart, is there a way to kill us down? Because you say die before you die. So Lakshmi kind of explained what Eckhart means by die before you die. So do you have anything to say about this seeking of enlightenment? Thank you.
you. I actually have one of my reminders on the phone is exactly that. Die before you die. So for me, this specifically is to reminder to just let go of ego identifications. It's exactly what I understand. So the little I that Eckhart talks about, that's the part that needs to die. And it's not us, because whatever stays, whatever doesn't change, it's our true nature, essence. So everything else needs to go. And that's freedom. That's ultimate freedom from externals, which is also our body, something in 3D world. But I don't know if like you work on it, on enlightenment, you know that you want it, but you are aware that this is just pointers to do certain things, like either mantra chanting, meditation, to constantly keep bringing you back to the present moment. But ultimately, even Eckhart said that certain times, or maybe just it's that effortless grace that brings you to that enlightenment. It's like you don't know why this happened that moment. You know, I sometimes feel that, okay, I'm doing so much work, trying, sometimes I'm failing, sometimes I this, but I keep trying and trying to make the effort to be a better person, to be more aware, more present. I use the tools. And then it feels like, oh, someone else walks around and it's like they seem enlightened already. So why do I have to put that effort in versus, but that's again, ego saying, oh, what about me? And then seeing that, it's like each one of us is perfectly in a perfect life situation for our blessings, for our learning, for our journey. And it's really, I mean, when we say journey, it means time, because journey, you go from somewhere to somewhere, but it's really the minute you are in the present moment, you're there. So, but yes, and even in his book, he said that, you gotta use time for suffering until you don't have to anymore, until you don't. So the die before you die is very powerful, and it's definitely one of the things that I felt like I need to be reminded of. Because the minute that there's moments that I feel like I'm done with ego, I actually am light and joyful and loving. And then another things comes up, and then it tries to take me away again to the world of comparing, contrasting, lack, and seeing other people. And then what you said one time, and I don't know if Eckhart talks about mirroring, like whatever our energy level is, we kind of attract. Like, look into that. What in you is attracting certain people, like certain, let's say, abusive parent? It's because you have something you need to, work through the karmatic accumulation, either from generation, and you chose this. And that was another thing that was very powerful that I got from Eckhart. Like, live in that moment as you chose this moment, instead of resenting and blaming. It's like, why this happening to me? Whatever the situation is, live in the moment as you chose this. It changes my perspective so completely. It's like I chose this, so it's a reason for this, and I need to see something, or some other person is showing me something, or I need to get rid of this part of my personality. It's coming back for a reason. So I don't know if I would love to just go to Eckhart's at a retreat, and I said, yeah, just kill me now, and let me be there. But some people like Eckhart maybe had that moment when it was just, that's it, and it's on. But for all of us here in this, even in this group, we're still supporting each other in getting one more ego element away, one more ego identification off. But the quality of every moment improves drastically if you are able to drop it. I mean, honestly, I see people around me tortured. They're actually tortured by that. And there are moments when they're a little lighter and they can see different, but then they're going back to that pattern, to that mind body that keeps feeding. And I reacted to it very, like immediately before, being very defensive. Now more and more, I still feel the hit in me, and I know what to do right now with it. I'm just letting it pass through me, instead of, if I feel it, it's like, oh, I'm resenting something. I'm just resisting this. So let me sit for a moment and let it just drop. And then I keep going and believing that, maybe it's a sign that I still carry certain parts that still bringing that person or that behavior in front of me. So I was the one that always wanted, it's like, okay, I've done this already. Why is it still coming up? Or when is this gonna end? I just want to be rewarded by the universe. Okay, look at me. I did my meditations for a week and this and that. I'm eating well, I'm taking care of my body. I'm being nice to people. Where's my reward? Like, why do I have to still deal with this? And that's exactly part of it. It's like, because your ego is trying to be impatient and say, like, maybe enlightenment is not for you. Maybe you're not good enough. It's that back door coming from back door. So again, die. die, because I'm not my thoughts, I'm not my feelings, I'm not my body. And I actually have a choice, if I'm present and aware, to see differently, to act differently, and just let go.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Patricia. Grateful. Infinite gratitude. Thank you for your insights. The one thing I would ask Patricia, why would you say, even now, after so many, it's been almost more than a year, right? That you've been doing meditations, that you would say that I've done my meditations, I've done my, why do you have, like, you have a limiting belief that when I do something, I need, that something, like, that action should give me a reward.
Yes,
right?
so this is something
So
I need to also die. I need to let it die of me, because it's that impatient component that I'm doing it.
it's not impatience. What you have to look at is, I have this habit of always, I do something positive, like so-called positive, and immediately I construe, like, there's a mathematical equation in your mind. I did positive, now I need positive result. And universe, show me positive result. Right? That's spectacular. Universe, come show me positive result that is spectacular. Right? But what I'm saying is, you're missing in that process, you are missing all the things that are happening to you because you have done the meditations, and because you're taking good care of your body. You're missing all the grace that has been showered upon you for the past more than 2 years that you've been doing this. You're missing it all.
I hope I didn't miss it all. There are moments when I absolutely am, like, bathed in gratitude. I feel that love.
But the moment, what I'm saying is in this moment when you're like, I love, that's why I love having you on the Facebook Live. It's not you, it's very exemplary of how human beings think, right? And that's what we are here to unpack, uncover, lay bare, right? And you're bearing your soul for us. So I'm eternally grateful to you for always bearing your soul, because you just speak your
happy
mind.
to be a sample.
You speak your mind. But do you see that you have, I've heard you say this before too, you're not realizing your own growth. Like, you're not realizing, look, where was I 2 years back and where am I now? Right? Let me celebrate. Where am I now? Look at me. I can actually, like, I can lead a life where it's very smooth. Most of the things happen smoothly. Like, you'll take, and then the other part is one negative thing happens, you say, oh, my whole spiritual practice doesn't work. No, that's not, just because one negative thing, so-called negative thing happened, doesn't mean you're special. It's just another test, right? It constantly, the universe is going to test us. It's okay that happened. Right?
You respond differently versus how you would have responded or reacted.
Right. So what I want you to take a measure of and actually take stock of is how much you have changed and celebrate that change, because that new self is what is going. You look at your old self and look at this new self. What you brought yourself to. Where did you start and where are you now? Right? Just the calmness with which you speak, the steadiness with which you speak, the clarity with which you look at your old videos, look at your Facebook Live of 2 years back and how scattered you were, right? And the clarity with which you speak now, that itself shows how much of an advancement you've made. You've done an incredibly amazing job of what you have done. But if you keep, you're doing the work, but then you negate it by saying, oh, I don't know if my meditations are working or not. Or I'm doing my meditations, I'm doing my protocol, but nothing is happening. The moment you say, I'm doing my meditations, I'm doing my protocol, I'm taking care of my body, I'm being healthy, I'm taking care of my body, but nothing is happening. The moment you say that, nothing will happen. Right? So all the time, like every little thing that is miraculous, right? Every little thing that is miraculous, recognize it as the divine being present through you, working through you because of your meditations, because of the fact that you're taking care of your body and you're there. Like, you have not taken vacation, I don't think so, in the last year and a half, right? I mean,
I just haven't been taking vacations for years.
Right? So just imagine how much your body has put you through, and that's because you take care of your body. Right? People fall sick all the time. They fall sick 2 or 3 times a year because they don't take care of their body. And because you're taking care of your body, so why aren't you celebrating that? Your body is serving you day after day, month after month, year after year, and it's providing for you, right? Because our body is moving, it's moving and grooving, we are able to go to work, come back, commute, do everything, right? This body is what is supporting us. Thank our body, right? The fact that we're nourishing it. So like, look at that, and immediately as soon as that thought arises, just see, oh, my pattern has come back. I need to drop this pattern of thinking that, oh, my meditation is not working, because that's a limiting belief. You have this habitual pattern of being very self-critical, right? And enlightenment is nothing but having the awareness that this is the thought and emotion, and this is my awareness, and you are already enlightened because you have that capability in you. You are able to witness your thoughts. You yourself are saying, I see it. You see that you're thinking and believing this way, right? So that is enlightenment, that is awareness, that is presence. You already have that presence. Why are you saying, I'm going to wait for my enlightenment? What are you waiting for? That is enlightenment.
Well, thank
right, Lakshmi?
Why, you're a wise one.
Isn't that awareness? That is enlightenment.
Yes.
You're enlightened already.
I just see everyone, like all of you, so much more ahead of me in the enlightenment process that it's like I don't see. I'm still having so many. I'm not gonna say it. There's still stuff I need to work on, so it's not.
Me too. There's still stuff I need to work on. My pain body is not completely dissolved. it keeps coming. When I think that it is gone, something happens which shows me. So we are all work in progress, Patricia. We are
But
all work in progress.
all of you, you Lakshmi, you Francesca, and you Poonam especially, you give so much to the world, like selflessly giving and showing the example and stuff, and have that wisdom and insight. And I still feel that I'm mostly taking instead of giving. I would love to be the one giving more than just
I'm
taking.
I'm most positive that there are so many ways that you give, but
Yes.
this
Yeah.
is
Yes.
This
like
is
it's
an
so
excellent way of giving, actually. You're showing up and you're sharing your heart. You're
Yes.
sharing from the depths of your journey, where every single human being on the planet can relate to Patricia. Like, believe me, like I show up
Yeah.
here today, I am exhausted. I'm like, I almost didn't show up there. I'm like, you know what? I'm excited to serve. So, I'm showing up because I had an all-day training thing. But where I'm going with this is no, we're not like ahead of you or nobody. Believe me. Um, I know I've got my share of like work that I'm doing constantly, and it's just like, oh my God. I remember years ago I would, challenge people. It's like, yeah, don't say the journey never ends. You guys don't know what you're talking about. And it's like now it's like, oh my God. So yeah, we're not ahead. Like, you are in pure awareness. The fact that you're noticing your thoughts as they are arising, that is light years ahead of majority of humans on the planet right now, because so many are still unconscious. Their consciousness is still asleep and so forth. So you are doing amazing, and yeah, stop beating yourself up. I used to do that, the self critic. And you know what? That was tied to my childhood in relation to how I was raised. And now that I'm stopped doing it to myself, oh my God, it drives me nuts that my siblings are doing it to me. I'm just like, seriously, universe? Like, okay, I finally stopped doing it to myself, and I'm being kind to myself. I know it's the ego mind making up stories, blah, blah, blah. Like, I can crucify this inside out. But my siblings are doing it to me. And then I recognize, you know what? They are in that old version of me, that state of consciousness that I was in. And now I'm getting to see it as a mirror. I mean, it's, my God, up until recently, it was triggering the heck out of me. Like, because it becomes exhausting, being, put down and all of these things. At the same time, what I'm seeing, it's like, oh my God, this is what I was doing to myself for like over 40 years, and now that I'm physically, my body is like, oh my goodness, this is like too much kind of thing. This is enough, and I'm rebuilding from scratch. My physical body is starting to show me as well. So through my siblings and then through my physical body and so forth, family, they are the greatest of challenges, yet the greatest of blessings when it comes to being, the mirror, because we get to see the parts of us that needs evolving, that still needs healing, that needs that attention. Oh my God, right? And all of those things I was looking for from my family. I was looking for them to stop judging me. I was looking for them to stop condoning, stop lying about me, stop gaslighting me, stop all of these things. In the meantime, universe was going, hey, Francesca, you're doing this to yourself, like all the time. And I wouldn't have known that until I went into like my nervous system and I realized, oh my God, the dysregulation from doing that to myself. And now I'm starting to gift myself those things that I was looking for from family, which is like for family to stop judging me, for them to stop lying about me, for them to stop gaslighting me. I was doing that to myself every time I negotiated myself away, every time I was hard on myself and, with not being good enough. And, I would allow my ego mind to crucify me, like, my God, like the Christ on the cross crucifixion, and that in itself, that's literally where I'm at right now in my journey. The heart, I call it the soul of my nervous system, because that's how deep being present took me in that regards. So yeah, you're not, behind anybody. We're not ahead. First of all, in the highest of realm, there is no behind and ahead or any of those labels. That's
True.
all part of the dualistic mind view,
Yeah.
right? All of the splits in consciousness that in human form, in the lower forms, unconscious form, we created those splits and those labels that we become identified with, and we were trained to become identified with, sadly, through external means, through upbringing, and all of these, false content that are limiting belief, and so forth. And we were trained to look at everything outside of ourselves as good, the way you were thinking we're all like better than you, the same way, I don't know about you guys, but I used to look at beautiful white chicks on TV when I grew up, when I did finally get TV in the Caribbean. And I'd be like, oh my God. And I would feel so much shame about my body because it did not look like that, flawless, like, and so forth. So again, we were
Like the women on Baywatch.
yeah, Baywatch. Oh my God. I used to watch Baywatch all the time, right? I was like, oh my God, I got to go to the gym to get this Baywatch body, right? And again, being programmed to look outside of ourselves for, these things when, hello, who taught us about our own beautiful bodies and how to nurture that and evolve so that we can, look at us all now. We all glow. Whether we do our celery juice or not, we're all glowing, right?
There
We were
is
glowing
so,
with celery juice.
Francesca, thank you. But there is so much, like, there are individuals among us that are much further or much more enlightened, and you sense it. Like, look at Eckhart, like being in his presence, like, brings your presence more. Dr. Joe Dispenza, and all the others names, even, some of them are past, like Dolores Cannon, right? And so many more, even Sadhguru, like everything he says, it's like, it's such a value in every word and a message, and on an energy level too. So you can't help by say, well, I want to have what he has. Like, I want to get there, because you see how amazing and peaceful and joyful and purposeful.
Eckhart is right now 76 years old, or 75, 76 years old. He was awakened or came to your level of awareness at 28. Subtract 76 minus 28. Are you at that level?
Yeah, because it's embodiment, it's practice, right? We build that frequency,
But
right?
Didn't you say that he got enlightened within like a night, and he just stayed there?
But he still had to work. He still had to work on his ego, right? There was somebody that Jonathan gave me a video of that had met Eckhart when Eckhart was in London, and they were like kind of like bad-mouthing Eckhart, because they were saying Eckhart is exactly not this kind of a person, because they've seen a different version of Eckhart, right?
Or
maybe that Eckhart was he still had some ego and must have operated out of his ego, which is fine, right? The thing is, one thing I want to tell you, Patricia, that one tip that I want to give you, you don't know when you can have that magical moment, like what Dr. Joe says in these meditations, as we go into that void, right? We don't know when we are going to have that magical moment where the divine like hits us to that extent that we have that Eckhart moment, right? So that is the thing that we are working on. Yes, we are connecting with the divine with a certain degree. One tip is that. So that's your kind of motivation to keep doing your meditation. That I don't know when it can happen tomorrow, it can happen today, but this is my love affair with the divine, right? I'm going to have my love affair with the divine.
I
And I'm
almost miss going into the void. If I like work alone and like I can't wait to actually go and close my eyes and come back to this because
exactly.
it's so
And
attractive.
the other tip I want to give you is every little thing that happens in your life that you realize it would not have happened if you didn't have that connection to the divine. Like work-wise, like what I do is work-wise, I may be waiting on something, right? Somebody to do something. Like in your case, maybe you are waiting for a customer to get converted, or you're getting a customer to accept some invoice or what. The moment you picked up the phone, you made the phone call and they did it for you, is the divine. That's the enlightened moment, the divine working through you. You're not seeing that. That's where your meditations are working, right? I gave you all a very small example during the group meditation, right, that I had missed in my city. Okay, so I absolutely love fireworks here in the US, because in India we do Diwali, right? It reminds me of Diwali. And 4th of July, I missed 4th of July in my city because they had 4th of July on 26th or 28th, whatever that June Saturday was. And I had to go to bed because I had to work early the next morning. So I went to bed when the fireworks started, right? And then next day, when I talked to, like on Monday, when I talked to my work people and they were talking about 4th of July, are we getting ready for 4th of July? When I missed all my fireworks, right? And then I felt bad. And then everybody was teasing me. Why did you not just stay up and watch the fireworks, right? So I was like, it's gone, right? The present moment is gone. I didn't stay up. I didn't just sing. So I just continued. First became second, second became third. On the 4th of July, when we were doing meditation, I suddenly, like I was closing the meditation session on that Friday, and then I heard loud thunder kind of noises, and I stepped out, and my whole neighborhood, this city, we actually are allowed to burn fireworks in the house. So the whole neighborhood, like this neighbor was like lighting fireworks, now that lane neighbor, for the next 40 minutes, it was fireworks all around me, and I didn't have to go anywhere. I just had to step, open the door, get out of this room, open the front door, get out on my front porch and see fireworks. That is the divine.
Yeah.
Listening
That's
to that deep desire that I mean, you had your daughter. You always say my daughter doesn't live with me. She came stay with you. See the divine, how it presented itself. It created a situation where your daughter had to come back, right?
And
That's
even more
And
so
also,
because she's been working in my company, in the company together.
And
So
you
I
see her the whole day, right?
and
Go ahead, Francesca. Let me give you a
Sorry.
question, Francesca. This is from a Q&A with Eckhart. Somebody says, Eckhart says you just die first before you reach enlightenment. Like he says, die before you die, right?
die before you die, yeah.
Right. So this person says, asking Eckhart, he says, for all of us that want enlightenment so badly, is there a way to kill us now? He's asking Eckhart. So Lakshmi and Patricia were explaining what die before die means. And then we started on this enlightenment thing. And so Patricia spoke. You can speak now if you had any input.
Yeah, just kill us now, Francesca. Kill us now.
I think my ego is about to put me through another die before you die death. And for me, it's like really simple. To me, that's just another ego death, right? Another layer of conditioning, another, layer of patterns and associated, so another layer of frequency and vibration that I'm vibrating at that doesn't serve me, right? And so when I start taking what we call in Buddhism right action, which is through meditation and, doing our inner work, being in awareness, recognizing that, oh my goodness, I'm attracting this, my family judging me experience to me. What is it am I carrying? Like, what is it within me that's, that keeps attracting this behavior towards me, right? Where am I vibrating at? Obviously, everything is a mirror, and it's here to teach us something about ourselves. And what it's here to teach us is the areas within us that needs attention. That attention is like love, compassion. It needs attention because it's asking for healing. It needs evolving, right? It's asking for us to recognize it, give it that unconditional love, that empathy, and that understanding. We were taught to seek these things outside of ourselves, but what we're missing is the fact that what we're seeking outside of ourselves is within us. It's just locked in within us because we were never really taught how to give ourselves, how to love ourselves, how to turn our eyes inwards, I guess, is probably a better term, how to look within to recognize that, oh my goodness, this angry part of me, it's been carrying this energy. I can feel the buildup in my muscle, in my shoulders, oh my God, in my heart. And below that is like sadness, and so it's a rabbit hole. But when we're going through that whole rabbit hole process, that's inner work. And when we're going through that process, even there's some parts of the imprints, just from recognizing, that state of pure awareness that, oh my goodness, this is what it's here to teach me. That in itself is powerful enough to dissolve that first layer or a few specks of the imprint, are enough to start breaking it up, right? And the more we self-examine, the more we self-realize, the more we start to, I guess what the Buddha said, move out of our own way. And we can start to experience that wisdom from within ourselves. It starts to emerge because it starts to show us. And the wisdom itself that's emerging is the awareness itself, the awareness that, hey, there's a part of me that needs evolving. I'm still carrying this energy of judgment against myself. Oh my God, how am I judging myself? Well, I've written like 2 pages and my arm was like wanting to fall off. It was hurting like my fingers. And I was like, oh my goodness, like when is this going to end? Like so many tiny little judgments that, I keep doing to myself. I'm not good enough. Oh my God, I was stuck where, Patricia was talking about earlier for so long. And thank goodness for my beautiful friends, and he would be like, for me, my ego would be like, oh, you're falling. And then as soon as that thought arises that I'm falling, it'd be like, oh my God, I'm falling backwards. And I would start self-examining everything I did, like throughout my day, to see what did I do wrong that has now derailed me from my whole practice and everything that I've, achieved so far in this, meditation, everything I do. And then the next thought would arise like, oh my God, maybe I did it yesterday. Oh my goodness. So before I'd be examining like my whole week. I'd start analyzing the whole month. Like, when did I even fall off and I didn't notice, And, so the whole time I'm going through that process, the mind is showing me more and more that I'm backwards. Oh my God, I'm falling. Where am I falling to? One day he goes, Francesca, where are you falling to? Who's telling you you're falling? Right? And I remember I stopped and like, oh my God. And then I swore at my ego mind, right? I'm like, you little, and I used the F-bomb on it silently in my mind. And I'm like, wow. So the thing is, and there was my ego mind locked into this frequency and vibration of the story and all of the formation. So the construction of the story one building upon the next, like, oh my God, I did something, to derail myself. Oh my goodness, I've lost all my power, and on and on. And this rabbit hole went deep, and it tortured me. I say tortured because it was like that for a few years on my path, right? That was something that I needed to go through, now that it doesn't happen anymore, because I learned so much from that process, like discernment. And oh my goodness, I really got to see the interconnected nature, the pattern of the story making of, the ego mind, my ego mind, and the interconnection, how it interpenetrates. I got to learn, what was collective imprint versus, my own from upbringing and my own relationships and so forth. It was so rich in wisdom realization that now when my ego, I always say give the monkey a banana, right? To be kind. And now when my ego does that, I tell it to F off sometimes. It's like, okay, normally the polite version will go, okay, ego, thank you for letting me know how you feel. And I roll my eyes at it. You would think it's walking around in the house because I go, oh, okay, thank you for telling me how you feel. This is not how I feel. But then I examine, why is it even making up that level, that what I call a lower frequency of story making? There must be something there that's causing it to do that, right? And so, die before we die to me means really we go through, oh my God, it feels like millions of egoic deaths, right? As we evolve, because each level of evolution that we experience on the path, we essentially die, right? That whole process, that self-examination process, and realizing like, oh my goodness, my daughter is like, darn, the old version of me. Like if it was me walking in the room, I just want to beat it up. Like, I drive myself crazy. This is what I did to people. Oh my God. And I'm like horrified. And it's like, shoot. And then of course, my mind would go like, oh my God. But now I laugh about it because I'm like, oh my God, Francesca, you are so stupid, right? But it's really ignorance. And below that is the innocence of not knowing, because what we're talking about now, like in these, beautiful shares and, and the work that we do, none of this stuff was talked about in the past, let alone, thought to us. And so, yeah, die before you die is literally all the ego death. And in order to become fully present, that is probably the greatest of deaths. In my case, it involved the physical body that brought me to my knees enough that I had no choice. Like, it forced me. So whatever little bits of clinging to external that I was doing, that I was holding on to, whatever, work I was, okay, I'll look at it because I'm so busy identifying with my mind and developing my teachings and blah, blah, blah. That's a whole other, disillusioned noise. It brought me to my knees where I was forced to like literally let go of everything. Like, talk about death. I had to let go of my daughter, like everything as I knew it, because I had my body was like, okay, Francesca, this is how I'm going to get your attention, and I went, first it was my body. And that was when I recognized like, oh my God, even with all of these years of extraordinary, experiences and deep meditation, like PT experiences, which is what they talk about in Buddhism, like powerful things have happened to me. I'm saying this very humbly, like even with all of that, even from, and then, saying this also very humbly, from my Buddha mind and so forth, I still didn't even know what my hands felt like a year ago. I forgot. That's how much we're trained to, in a way, disidentify with ourselves. That's how dysregulated the nervous system becomes. And that's how disconnected, from the body we become, to the point that, oh my God, we can't, like I was no longer, I couldn't feel like, what did my hands feel like? It took me 3 weeks and 9 days. I was laughing by the end of that because I was like, oh my God. But then, and that was because of Eckhart. Like I needed Eckhart's help to his inner body meditation is, by the way, I recommend that like everywhere now, his inner body meditation to become present enough with the inner body, and like nothing else matters. Just, me, my connection and becoming, that process itself. Again, that was the process of death where I was finally able to experience presence. So Patricia was sharing earlier about, Eckhart showing up the way he shows up, as the Christ from that Christ state of consciousness. Not only that, he emanates that presence, right? And we can all feel it. My God, I wake up to Eckhart so because it does magic to my nervous system and I'm listening to him in the morning when I wake up, right? And his voice, like, oh my God, those were things I learned when I unplugged from this last hospitalization that I had, and I became present. And it was like, and some of my friends were laughing because I was like, oh my God, I feel like I'm so slow. Like that really got sick. Yeah, like even that in itself was like, my ego mind, trying to fight that. It was like trying to convince me that I was too slow, but yet I felt so powerful. There are so many things happening. The difference between us and Eckhart, Patricia, is so when we show up here, like online, and I know it still happens to me, it's happening to me right now, okay, is that level of presence. If I'm offline, now, at least I can say so, thank God and thank you, Eckhart, I can experience that just sitting here in my chair. Today, I witnessed myself emanating that to the group that I was sharing with, but it wasn't online. We were in person. We were sitting in a park. I felt like we were actually inside of a portal. And I started speaking, and all of a sudden, everything went silent. And I could feel that depth. Everybody was just like, I remember feeling like it was slow motion or something, and it was brief, and then as soon as I started paying attention to it, of course, it went away. I was like, darn. But anyway, yeah, Patricia, I know.
Patricia has to drop. It's that late for her.
So stop beating yourself up so much. Yeah, we're not ahead. We're exactly where we're supposed to be, and you're doing amazing. Like, yeah.
Get some rest, Patricia. You look tired.
Ego, but is a bad example. But yeah, I've told it where to go sometimes,
But I still didn't want to miss it. So thank you so much.
So grateful,
for
Patricia.
all your wisdom and insights and shared presence, and I'm so grateful. And I'll see you on.
We meet in 2 weeks. Yes.
But
Good night.
Meditation.
Good night.
Francesca, I have a question for you.
Sure.
You have to teach me your breath work.
Yes.
Because Dr. Jill has this pulling the mind out of your body breath work.
Yes,
right?
I remember that. Yeah.
Let me see if I can make you speaker so I can see you better. So he has this pulling your mind out of the body breath work. And it's like something about like you contract your perineum, you blow your breath out and you contract your perineum, you lift your perineum, then you pull your belly button in, you pull your second listing, but you take a breath, right? You take a breath. I do not know how to take that breath properly. And I was like, one day you, on one of the Facebook Lives, you did a breath. And I went, I need to ask Francesca, how did she take that breath so she can teach me? So maybe this would be a teaching.
I don't know which breath it is. Probably.
It's like one slow, steady breath, right? But it's not, it's one slow, steady breath, but it's not, when we take a breath, we expand our stomach, but it's not expanding our stomach. It's pulling our stomach in. It's like you're taking one slow, steady breath. Like
Okay.
you're pulling your stomach in, like you're compressing everything from the perineum all the way up. You put like you're like, okay, if your stomach is up out here, right? You're pulling everything in, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's all touching the spine. And then he asks us to pump, like a Kegel exercise, kind of pump, right? So that the
Yeah, because you're
cerebral,
pumping like at each chakra as you take that little breath in, little breath in. Yeah.
it's not little breath, it's like one slow, steady breath in. And I practiced it for the past 2 years, and I kind of have it, but I don't think I have it to a masterful. So I want you to give me self-mastery right now.
Oh gosh.
Because the key,
Sure.
the key to the breath work, the key to the key to his so what he says is that breath work, it, pineal gland, everybody says the pineal gland has fluoride crystals, so it's
Yeah.
calcified.
It's crystal. Yeah. Yeah.
That breath work actually breaks down that calcification.
Yes. Yes.
So go ahead. Remember I was
Sorry.
telling you I wanted to Niraj
Oh,
Niraj
vision.
Naik?
In vision.
No, there's a breathwork technician, breathwork person in his repertoire of people that Mindvalley has, and his name is Niraj Naik. He does breathwork.
Right. Did you try it? I couldn't remember.
Not
if you
yet.
did.
Not yet. But
Okay.
I'm planning to get into somebody's breathwork routine. Because we used to have, I used to have a friend, Parker, who years back, and she used to do Kundalini,
I
how
love.
they do,
Yes.
they do breath work a lot. And she was such a great technician at doing breath work. And I'm not a breath work person. Like I've never done yoga in my life. I've never done breath work in my life, right? So Kim Ming's A Few Breath Work is my first introduction, and now Dr. Joe. Dr. Joe has different variations of breath work, but this pulling the mind out of the body is like the most essential breath work that we need to master. I think I'm there, but not really. So I want you to show me.
Okay. I'm not sure how prepared I am, but oh my God, there's so much into that question that you're asking, because like you mentioned, Dr. Joe has many variations of breath work. I personally use many variations of breath work, and the variations is depending on what my intention in relation to why I'm doing the breath work to begin with.
Mm.
That is critical, because different breath is, for different emotional, movement of different pain body imprints, right? So for example,
One second. Before you go into depth, I want to let, if anybody's watching this, the main reason why we do breath work is we are in this survival mode. We are in this fight, flight, freeze mode. So we are doing very shallow breathing, because how are you when you're wanting to run away from something? You're like taking short breaths. And so breathwork technicians, that's why it's so important to do. And Eckhart does recommend breathwork along with meditation and spending time in nature, blah, blah, blah. He has a lot of portals of presence. Go ahead. Sorry. Didn't mean to. I wanted to give everyone a context why we are getting into breathwork. Go ahead.
Yes, and that's okay. That's important, because I have a habit of diving right in. So yeah, to me, breath work is essential. It's absolutely critical, because it helps us with regulating the nervous system. Making those, in like when we're doing inner work, like for example, Puna mentioned the survival mind. So when I'm working, I'm aware that when I'm working directly with my survival mind imprint, which is the deepest seated form of anger, or the deepest seated form of sadness, and so forth, right? Like I'm into like Kundalini level breath work at that at that point, because sometimes it means I'd have to like, pump my belly and like breath of fire, right? Sometimes it might mean, and so now the breath is waving through my body as I dance, because movement also helps to, move those energies that I'm trying to move. And the fiercer the energetic imprint that I'm trying to move, which is survival mind level, the more my breath, like I would breathe in through the nose, but the out breath goes out through the mouth, like, and sometimes we hiss it out, and different. Sometimes I'm roaring it out, because I'm in that primal, like, imprint, and that primal imprint requires like expression, right? And we were taught to express when we feel that buildup of anger by shooting somebody else, by hitting them, by, war and all of these horrific forms of violence. We weren't taught breath work, and how to regulate that nervous system, how to, like, first of all, be in a state of pure awareness so that we can recognize that, oh my goodness, my survival imprint is triggered, because all of a sudden, and family members are excellent angels in this regard, that curse is actually a blessing, because they are the ones that are able to pierce that veil within your mind faster than you can possibly imagine. Like they're artists, like they were trained to go directly to the amygdala, to the point where, when you become triggered, you don't even remember what you were even triggered about to begin with, right? And you just like explode. And I'm actually in the heart of working. That's why I call it the soul of my nervous system. And it's all about breath work right now. I've had to retrain myself how to breathe. Like Poonam was saying, when we breathe with like, this is anxiety. This is literally us programming anxiety into our minds, like into our entire system. And now it's like, oh my goodness, anxiety. I have anxiety, and it's become like, this label, and nobody's really addressing the root cause, of anxiety, which is, dysregulated nervous system. We're not breathing properly because our breathing, the circadian rhythm, I'll call it, of our breathing patterns is just, completely disconnected. Like the lower half of the body, is disconnected from the upper half of the body. I'm speaking, so everything I'm sharing is from my own, experience in relation to the mess that I had become within. Okay.
So what's the best way to do the breath then?
So Dr. Joe, so before I get into that, so Dr. Joe's breath work, the one where, you contract the perineum and you take that breath in, that took me forever to practice. The key that I found to be able to even do that without running out of breath by the time I got here, I was like, oh my God, it's like I was forcing myself. There is a thing about that whole forcing yourself process and trying so hard. It means we're actually in the mind and identified with the mind, and we're now using the mind to do this, and that's the wrong way. It took me so many, like, trials of that and coming into present deep enough to recognize, like, oh my God, no wonder I was running out of breath by the time I got there. And it's like, and the rest of it's like, oh my God, I'm going to turn blue, but like, gotta hold it when I get up here and I have nothing left to hold, right? And the key is presence. So when you become present, again, I say use the Eckhart Tolle's inner body, meditation. When you become present and you start to practice, it's like it's retraining that pattern. It is really forming a new pattern if you don't even have a pattern, right? It's like the circadian, rhythm and vibration, of your breath. You train yourself to slowly. So I started by, with presence. For me, my go-to was like below my belly button. So my sacral chakra area, right? And so I would concentrate on the inner body and I would breathe in slowly. Now here's the thing. So this is really deep, right? Presence is getting to deep presence is a layered process, because when at first the mind won't tell you this, and again, the same thing is like when you're doing the Dr. Joe breathing, right? You know, the mind wouldn't tell you that, oh my God, you're doing this from the mind. So when I used to connect, or when I thought I used to connect to my inner body, yeah, there were times when I did, but very briefly. Most of the time when I did that visualization, I'd be like, I'm connecting to my inner body. But when I stopped to examine deeper, it wasn't me that was connecting to my inner body. It was my mind that was telling me I'm connecting to my inner body. Huge difference. So when it's the mind that's going down, not the breath and awareness, you're not becoming present. Yeah. Right. And so because of that, I found for me that was like the biggest key, because in terms of like getting that full breath in, it was just like my body was expanding, and suddenly I could like breathe more. I could, breathe slowly, like in through my nose. And now when I walk, I like I'm walking, I'd be like, and slowly out through my mouth. So the key to beginning to train yourself is in through the nose, slowly out through the mouth, because the mouth helps with, it's like magic when it comes to nervous system regulation. In our Zen, my teacher, her name is Darlene, she teaches what's called Maitreya's chair, which is, we breathe in and then we lean just a little bit forward, we're breathing, but the out breath is coming out through the mouth.
Awesome.
So letting go, right? Then we're breathing in as we come back to present, then letting go as we go back, breathing in, then letting go to the side, right? Shaking, if we feel like shaking our arm out, then breathing in, letting go. Now I'm doing a faster version of it, right? And then we do the body. So we're doing all the different directions where we're doing east, west, north, south, up, down, north, east, south, the different directions. So it's extremely powerful. But what it's doing, it's teaching you to, first of all, to control that breath, right? Breathing, holding it when you get to the top.
Mm-hmm.
Holding it when you get to the bottom.
Makes sense.
And the longer you're able to hold on the bottom, the more you literally, not only yourself physically adjust, you could like literally feel your entire room, like your whole body adjusting. And I know we just kind of went through the fastest version of
No worries. I just realized right behind you under the Om, it says breathe.
Breathe. Oh my God, yeah, breathe, just breathe. Yes. And it's kind of like the other, I have a little sticky note that says, watch the thinker, focus on the now. And I have it in both directions on my wall, because when I was practicing, when I was practicing staying aware that, I was in past psychological time or future psychological time.
Yes.
And so breath work for me, overall, I guess to sum it up, is really, you will know, your body will tell you which breath work is appropriate for you when you're doing that depth of inner work, because you will feel it. It will either come up like, you need to growl it out, or.
Yes. Beautiful. Okay, it is getting late. Francesca, eternally grateful. Thank you so much for all the guidance. I learned something about breathwork today. So grateful. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, trust in your body. It will let you know, depending on where the tightness is, how you need to breathe, and whether that breath needs to be combined with movement and so forth.
Beautiful. And I know Christina, Josie, Dave, and Wyatt joined us. So eternally grateful to them for always being online. Thank you. Many blessings. Much love to everyone. Good night. Have a fantastic week. Bye.